I must break you. What? Pretty shitty, huh? Hit it! What's going on, friends? Logan Myerz here for Cinephellas.com. Tonight I'm going to be reviewing the sequel to Creed, Creed 2. I just posted the first Creed movie review. I just watched it a few days ago for the first time, so I was really pumped and excited for the sequel film. This time around we have Dolph Lundgren returning as Ivan Drago and his son Viktor Drago, so really pumped about this, and let's talk about it, shall we? So this time around we have Stephen Caple Jr. directing this film. The first movie was directed by Ryan Coogler, huge fan of his. I'm not really familiar with Stephen Caple Jr.'s works. I went into this film, very open-minded, and I was not disappointed in any way, shape, or form. Creed 2, this is definitely making my top list of best film of the year of 2018. It was fantastic from start to finish, and for many, many good reasons. So this time around we have, Adonis Creed, or Donnie Creed, is top of his game. He's the champ, he's a world champ. He's got an ego. Donnie and his girlfriend, played by Tessa Thompson, they're doing really well. Her music career's doing really well. He's doing great in boxing. Life is good at this point. They're living a happy life. Donnie's overcoming some issues that he's had. And then in comes the Russians, straight from Rocky 4. So basically the setup is Viktor Drago. He's a badass. He's fucking massive. He looks like the Mountain from Game of Thrones. Anybody that steps in the ring with Viktor Drago, they just get their asses handed to him. And he's brutal. He can fight. He's just angry dude. We all know this is a big deal of these two guys fighting because of Rocky 4, when Apollo Creed, Donnie's dad, was killed by Ivan Drago, and there's a lot of hatred there. There's a lot of anger, and a lot of things that they haven't overcome over the years. So with these two guys fighting, of the Russians coming to America and having this big match, there's a lot on the line. You don't know what's going to happen. Is Donnie going to survive, or is he going to die like his father did? This time around, I really enjoyed the Drago's backstory. Ivan, he lost to Rocky Balboa in Rocky 4, so he went back to Russia, and the country just forgot about him and kicked him to the curb. And we see him now with his son in 2018, and it looks like they're pretty poor and they're struggling. Ivan's training his young son Viktor every day, really pushing him over the limits because he wants to make him a champion and take back boxing and basically the sport that really broke their family, because from the earlier film, them going back to Russia after Ivan lost, the whole country forgot about him, and he was pretty much hit rock bottom. His wife, played by Brigitte Nielsen, left him. We find out that she left Ivan and their son because he was a loser and he was not a champion, he didn't win. So there's a lot of backstory with the Dragos this time around. It's really interesting. I'm not saying that you feel for them, but you see that they've gone through hell and back as well. It was not a good life for them in Russia. So the Dragos showing up in Philly, Ivan finds old Rocky, comes to his restaurant and talking to him, and you could still see there's a lot of hatred between these two. And something that was broken inside of Rocky, as he says in the film, that's never been fixed since their fight. And in Creed 2, this is more a story about Donnie Creed, about Michael B. Jordan. This is his film, and he is fantastic in this movie, showing so much emotions. You see how far he's come as a man since the first film, and this film becoming a father with him and his girlfriend having, a baby. And again, this time around, Stallone is also fantastic, top-notch acting, a really great dramatic piece. And he has some juice to his character this time around. You see what he's coming across with his son Robert, and Rocky always being there for Donnie, but he's thinking about his son Robert. And there's a few sequences in the movie you see Rocky looking at his son's pictures, and he's scared. He doesn't know what to say to his son. They haven't talked in some time, and Rocky has a young grandson he's never met. There's more story to him this time around. There's a lot more emotion, and it really pulls on your heartstrings at certain aspects of the movie, because you can feel for Rocky and you feel for Donnie as well, just what these two characters, this family unit, is going through in the second film. But one of my favorite parts of the film is seeing Michael B. Jordan training for this big fight against Viktor Drago. He's taken out to the desert. He basically wants to start all over, get a refresher, and basically find himself as a boxer and find that love and passion again. He's been through a lot with the family, and he needs to find himself and get his mental state right for this big fight, because he's taken on a monster and he's got to be tip-top shape and the top of his game. So there's a really great training scene in the desert. Not as good as part 4, Rocky 4, with Hearts on Fire, where they're training and shit with Ivan and Rocky. But leading up until the end of the film, we finally have the big match we've all been waiting for since the 80s, basically. And this is just really, really well shot. And it's a different take than Ryan Coogler's direction. In the first film, there's not the one take or one shot like in the first movie, but the fight scenes are incredible. It's very, very realistic, and there's a few certain shots while they're fighting that you can see it's like a green screen, but besides that, everything else looks like it's actually happening. And you see Donnie taking a shit ton of punches and falling down. And this time around too, they did a lot of point of view shots. So if Donnie's getting punched, it's from his point of view, and you see Viktor just fucking swinging at him with massive arms. So that was kind of cool the way they shot that. But I'm not going to say what happens in the fight, but it's pretty brutal. The way they ended this film is very fantastic, a different approach than the first movie. It definitely pulls on your heartstrings, a lot of emotions between the Creeds and Rocky Balboa and his family, and it was just really well done. The way they ended it could be the end of the Creed story. But I think, it'll make a lot of money. That they might try to do a Creed 3 of Donnie fighting Tommy Gunn's son or something. But hopefully they end it like this, because it ends on a high note. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was a movie I was a little worried about with a different director, but, Stephen Caple Jr. did an outstanding job. He had a different take on this movie. There's a lot of great storyline in this movie, Creed 2. Great performances, the way it was shot. Again, the score was fantastic. There's a lot of nods to other Rocky movies in the franchise, especially Rocky 4. There's one great cameo. I'm not going to say who. A great sequel film, a great follow-up from a director that's maybe not as well known as Ryan Coogler is, but Stephen Caple Jr. did an absolute phenomenal job. Creed 2 is definitely one of my favorite movies of this year, and it will make probably my top 10 list at the end of the year when I do my top movies of 2018. So if you guys have not seen this, it just came out last week. If you like boxing movies, if you like Rocky Balboa franchise, Michael B. Jordan, any of that, I think you're gonna have a great time with this. And so overall, I'm gonna give Creed 2 a 4.5 out of 5 Rocky Balboa head pieces. So what'd you guys think of Creed 2? What was your favorite part? What didn't you like about it? Do you think there'll be a Creed 3? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit subscribe. This is Logan Myerz training up here in Russia before my big fight. Until in the next review, cheers!